Hi guys, welcome back to RUE MORGUE TV. I'm RUE MORGUE Executive Editor Andrea Subasati, and if you're enjoying this content that we're providing on RUE MORGUE TV and you want to go even deeper into RUE MORGUE's world of horror and culture, I'd like to invite you to join our family of subscribers. Our subscribers not only save over 25% off the newsstand price on the issues, but they receive them right at their door before the street date. So if you want more RUE MORGUE, and I hope you do, I hope you're enjoying this content, please do consider subscribing. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.
Hi, my name is Yasmina. I am part of Witchfinger Horror Podcast, and I'm also a columnist for RUE MORGUE. And today I'm going to take you back to the 80s and talk about my love of VHS. So welcome to the Rewind Zone. I'm an 80s kid. I grew up in the 80s. Just the way it used to be. I always enjoyed going to the rental stores and the mom and pop shops and renting movies and coming home and watching them with my friends or my brother. You know, there's something about watching a tape and the bad tracking. It's something that, you know, feels very nostalgic. It takes you back to that time when you used to watch them with your child eyes, you know, back in the day. So that's why I never got rid of any of my tapes. Like, people were just exchanging tapes for DVD, and I was like, no, I'm gonna keep my tapes. Like, I still have some VHS from my childhood that I'll never get rid of. Like, the copy that I have of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Part 2 is the same tape that I used to play as a kid all the time, and I could recite that movie now, and I'm like in my late 30s. So it's important to me, you know, and the whole point of nostalgia is that it takes you back to that time or a place from your childhood. It brings you back good memories, and it makes you feel really good. So I love the 80s. It's my favorite decade. I mean, I grew up in the 80s. What can I say or do? You will come back with truth. There's so many things that I admire about it. Like, for example, the colors is a big thing for me. Like, houses and furniture were lots of browns and mustard, and the fridges that were like avocado green, and, you know, the clothing, it's like, I love the neon fringed clothing, the big crimped hair. There's also an appeal to the visuals of the 80s as well that I notice when I'm watching a movie that was made in the 80s. It's got a smokiness as well, because a lot more people did smoke in the 80s, and I'm not an advocate for cigarettes or anything like that, but it just adds to the whole nostalgia of it, right? So it's like, even a smell, you know, when you're walking down the street and you smell something and you're like, that is a smell from my childhood. Like, that smells like tube gum. Fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away. To a flavor fantasy, bubblicious. And it takes you back to that time, and you're like, I remember that moment when I was drinking Crystal Pepsi and ordering pizza, you know, like these things, like when you reminisce on these times of your life, like, it makes you feel good, and it makes you feel, you know, really emotional and happy. It's awesome when you can connect with other people and talk about like similar things, like, oh, remember the banana medicine? Like, that delicious amoxicillin, remember that?
Bananas are a solid food that doctors now include in baby's diet. And since they are so good for baby, I think we all should try it.
For me personally, VHS is a huge part of my childhood, and it's something that, you know, I'll forever be collecting. But a lot of these movies were never distributed, and the amount of movies that were made in the 80s is astonishing. One of my favorite things about watching tapes is the previews. That's how you find out about other movies, and then that spawns another addiction where you have to look up on the internet, like, what is this other movie that Albert Pune directed? I must look up all of his movies, and then you're like, oh, who's this other director that made these terrible terrible movies, Godfrey Ho. Yes, I must learn everything I need to know about these movies, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's also another thing that about this day and age, like it's really, really hard to avoid spoilers. So that's another thing that I miss about the 80s too, is that we didn't have YouTube.
Come on, Oscar. Get the fuck up out of here. Fucking right, man.
When you used to go rent these movies, you know, you would pick them based on the cover, you know, thinking that the movie was going to do justice to the cover. And you may be disappointed, you may not, but that thrill of the element of surprise is one thing that is truly awesome about, you know, the pre-internet days. More of the lesser known obscure movies that are more rare are going to be more expensive. Like people spend hundreds of dollars on single tapes. Like I'd probably say that the holiest grail of VHS is a movie called Tales from the Quad-Ed Zone.
Tales from the Quad-Ed Zone. Huh? That sounds good.
I mean, you can watch it on YouTube, and it's like they used ketchup for blood, legit. And that has gone for, you know, between $600 to $1,000. I don't think I would spend that much on a single tape. That just shows my lack of, you know, passion for VHS. But I would definitely spend a lot for some tapes, definitely. Like there's some, like, I'm still looking for Video Violence 1 and 2. The Video Dead, Sledgehammer, Wood Chip Massacre, you know, Nail Gun Massacre. Even though I have Nail Gun Massacre on Blu-ray, I still want the VHS copy. Some of these tapes as well, like, are so rare that makes them even cooler. Like the Fright Night Part 2 VHS that's like in the shape of a coffin. There's the House VHS that's like in the shape of a house. There's a lot of really cool like 3D box cover art as well, like Black Roses and the Dead Pit where the zombies' eyes light up. And there's also the Frankenhooker VHS that has like a button on it, and if you hit the button it says, "Want a date?" It's just like, why wouldn't you want to own that, right? Like it's like a piece of history. So I find it really important to collect these things because I feel like you're saving history, you know? For me personally, my #1 holy grail tape would be to find Winter Beast on VHS.
Now that is absolutely incredible.
Please find it for me. I'll pay, please. I need Winter Beast on VHS very badly. Okay, so another really fun thing about being a VHS collector is when you get into the distribution companies. Like, I love collecting Vestron Video and Prism Key Video. Like, I love like the Rainbow Spines, and I'm a big fan of the Wizard Video, like the big boxes, the MGM big boxes, like the ones that have the flap that like opens this way. And a lot of people even get even more specific when they start collecting specific VCRs, like the top loader VCRs that have the buttons, or you have to actually use force to hit a button to hit play. I'm gonna conform you guys to all VHS hoarders.
I have a bunch of VHS still, but I don't have a VCR, and now I'm kind of...
Dude, Value Village, they're like $8 at Value. I always have a backup VCR too.
Hey, I'm just trying to make conversation here.
Well, you're sure doing a shitty job.
Another really important thing about VHS, I'd probably say the most important, is the cover art. You know, when I remember as a kid going to the video rental store and seeing specific, you know, tapes on the shelf, like with my child eyes, and I look at them now and it still brings me joy. Like, okay, so some of my favorite VHS cover art, I guess, would be Cheerleader Camp is a good one, Fade to Black, The Video Dead. I love that cover so much. Popcorn, Night of the Creeps. Like, there's so many. I could go on. And for any VHS collector, you should probably own the book Video Cover Art by Thomas Hodge. It's fantastic. It goes by different categories, and it just has a plethora of fantastic video cover art. And yeah, some of them are bad too. Like, most of them are amazing, but a lot of VHS collectors like to collect the terrible art ones. And it's kind of funny because some of them have amazing artwork and the movie is crap, but then some of them are the worst artwork you've ever seen, and the movie is like fantastic. So you gotta have it all. I'm Yasmina, and this has been the first video episode that we're doing for the Rewind Zone here on RUE MORGUE TV, and stay tuned because we're going to do a lot more videos where I'm going to gush more about these fantastic 80s movies, and I hope you enjoy, and read my blog, The Rewind Zone, on ruemorgue.com, and remember, be kind, rewind, or else.